right, listen, I love the intro to the song Lights, and Neal Schon's guitar playing really is so super smooth. It just highlights how incredible of a guitar player he is. And I want to share with you why it works, like what's really happening. I want to share with you what this guitar is, by the way. It's called the Inspired guitar, and I'll be talking about it during our lesson, talking about it afterwards, just in case you're interested in this. And before we begin, I did slice my finger open the other day, and I should have gone to the hospital, but this Band-Aid will have to do, so I apologize. All right, so let's begin. All right, so what's going on in the intro? All right, the chord progression for the intro that the riff is based on is D, B minor, D, A, B minor, C, D. Now, for those of you who are interested, I'm just going to go over some theory here. It's like, well, what key is this in? Well, when you look at the first couple of chords, you got D, B minor, D, A. You go, okay, that's definitely in the key of D. We have the 1 chord, we have a 6 chord, and we have the 5 chord. But out of somewhere, all of a sudden, we get a C to a D. And here we have a key change, okay? I have a video about how music works and changing keys. It's popping up right over here. In case this stumps you, just bookmark that and watch it. But the idea is he goes from the key of D to the key of G. He jumps into the adjacent key in the circle of fifths. I don't want to roll our eyes yet, but it makes sense. When you understand how it works, again, that video crystal clear, you can see you have the chords of the key of D here and the chords of the key of G, and he goes into the key of G and grabs that C chord and brings it back up to the D. Very, very common in rock and roll and with keys that are right next to each other. So we have a mixed match kind of thing. We have something that's in D, then goes to the G, ends on the D, and it starts again. All right, so that's the chord progression. What does Neal do with this? Well, it's really funny because I was researching this and saying, I was like, are there any interviews or footage of Neal playing this intro? And I found several, and he plays it, I say, 80% the same all the time, but he does do embellishments and stuff, and you don't be so strict with the tabs. It goes to show you that the official tabs really are not that official. But I came across the Rick Beato interview that came out like 8 or 9 days ago, and he says that it's obvious that he wanted to put a little bit of Jimmy in this intro. And of course, Jimmy meaning Jimmy Alfonso from the Brett Weiler Band. Just kidding. Jimi Hendrix, right? Sorry, I had to do it. And the idea is, if you look at the tabs, you study how to play, it's definitely Hendrix, inspired. And so we have this intro. Well, what is that? All right, well, if you can look at it 2 ways. The Hendrix mind is like, here's a D chord, and he always came from that A-shaped chord and moved into that form 1 pentatonic. This, and then video about Hendrix and this stuff popping up right here. There's a D chord sliding into this pentatonic. If you want to look at it from a Cage point of view, here's a G-shaped D chord, and with it comes that pentatonic. So, however Neal Schon was looking at it was, okay, you got a D chord, and he's sliding to the pentatonic, and he does this little. So what is that? Well, I just made a video a couple months ago about Jimi Hendrix and Little Wing, and this is the root note, and coming up 2 frets, that's the major second, also known as the 9, and this is what the Jimi Hendrix influence was to Neal's mind, which was playing this pentatonic and flashing that little 2, that 9. 2 and 9 are the same. All right, and he messes around with pentatonic. Ooh. Right? And then he comes down from there, that's the D, to the B minor. Now this right here, just to let you know, it's like, well, why doesn't he come to the B minor here? Why doesn't he play it here? It's so much easier. Like, Neal, it's so much easier. But he chose here. It's hard to go from this D major pentatonic and within the flash of pan get this B minor 7th chord, which he lays out, and we'll go over this, with the and touching your pinky to the 5th fret of the B string. So let's look at what's happening here. We have the D major pentatonic little, flash of that 9. Sorry. And then we have the, he goes to a B, he holds on a B minor 7, And then he does the same trill. Now this is from the pentatonic that comes here. This A minor shape chord comes with this pentatonic, and you can hear. And he changed, instead of, he comes back to that second fret, which is in the B minor 7. So you have, sorry. A little bit of a squeeze in the pick when you do that trill, the hammer on. It's a highlight. Slides back in the same riff. And now we got a little bit of reprieve here. It goes to an A chord. So what is this? Well, it's an A with a suspension, A sus4, where you're adding that D. There's the exact stuff I'm talking about in my Little Wing video, right? That Little Wing video is about the suspensions and the nines. And here we have a definitive Neal Schon approved riff inspired by Jimi Hendrix, adding the 9 and the suspensions. Clear as day, all right? Clear as day. And so, you know, we have a D major pentatonic with the 9, B minor 7 with its pentatonic with the same flash in the pan. Back to the same riff. To an A with a suspension. Back to the B minor 7. And now the gauntlet begins. Right to a C major chord, okay? Now you can watch the videos and you can see Neal's pinky doing its dance, and let me tell you, you know, and then it's a C major chord. Then a pinky, pull off to the ring finger. That's a suspension 2. This is the third. 1, 5, 1, 3. Major third, 4, 3, 1. That's the same as this. And here's the A-shaped chord, actually. So this of the same. And then slides into his major pentatonic. And ends with a bar. Alright? Yes, this guitar obviously has a built-in amp, and it's actually a really good quality speaker. Again, this is the Enya-inspired, and they just let you know, it's not paid for, and I'm sorry, I'm not doing an advertisement for them, I'm not getting paid for this, but this guitar actually inspired me to do this video, which I find funny. Bluetooth, it's really cool. It's carbon fiber, easily adjustable, like the neck, you can adjust it here, you can adjust the the whammy bar in the back, and the sound is incredible, and you can switch sounds by pushing this button, like clean, distortion. I'll show you afterwards. Anyway, I just want to show you, in case you were wondering, got a little bit there. All right, so to me, keeping this smooth is incredibly hard. I really think I'm playing it better than I have, A, maybe because I'm under pressure of making a video, but B, because of this Band-Aid. I don't know, maybe it's doing some hard work for me, but you know, you want to think about what's going on. D major pentatonic, B minor, D major, A, minor, C, D. And it sounds great. I mean, it sounds great. I really think it sounds good with this guitar. And so this is the mindset of Neal. Okay, I'm going to take this chord progression, I want to Jimmy-ify it, if that's a word, and he did. And the way, by the way, like I said, I'm going to mention earlier in the video, the way he gets away from the actual Jimmy sound is by messing with the tone of the guitar, taking the highs out and making it nice and low and almost jazz-like and beautiful. And you can hear the difference when the solo comes in, you know. And then the producer or you know, all of a sudden hits the gain. Anyway, so just to let you know, I wanted to show you that this makes sense when you look at it from a Jimi Hendrix-inspired riff, all right? It's hard. It's hard to stay smooth. And I will say, on the Patreon practice sessions, if you made it this far, we're going to be learning how, of course, to practice this, you know, what to push down, but we'll learn how to play it easily, all right? And in case you want to, like, play this song with a band, but you don't want to have that pressure of this gauntlet of bar chords and pentatonics moving, I'll show you some ways to keep it real easy so that you can play it. So I think I got my message across. You can see clearly these are Hendrix-type pentatonic moves, especially when compared to the Little Wing video that I just made. And it's so beautiful. It is a gauntlet. There's a lot of pressure you got to push down and keep it clean, and I love it. And I hope that this video just shows you why it works, and you can take any chord progression that if you've written anything, and you can jimmyify it. As a matter of fact, I have a video about Yellow Ledbetter, which will pop up right here, which is about Pearl Jam jimmyifying a song. So there's no reason you can't do it if you understand your pentatonics and where those nines are and where those suspensions are. You can really get into some Jimi Hendrix type playing. All right, now, I'll sit for a couple seconds. I want to talk to you about this guitar. Again, this isn't paid for. They sent this to me. I've been playing it for 2 weeks. They said, hey, just give us your honest opinion. And here's my honest opinion. This thing rocks. It really does. Why? Well, I have a studio, and I plug it in, and I plug guitars in. Oh, by the way, this thing sounds amazing also plugged in. Like, it has a real jack, right? I mean, it's really pretty. And I'll make another video with it plugged in. But the built-in speaker, and it comes with a Bluetooth foot pedal where you can change from clean, distortion, all this stuff. It's awesome. It's very, very simple. You just turn on some buttons, and you have a guitar with an amp. So when you have, when you're inspired, and again, I think it is funny that the name of the guitar is Inspire, but when you're inspired to do something, you can just grab this guitar and push a button, and you have the electric sound instead of like just hearing, you all know what it's like to play an electric guitar without amplification. It's clunky, and sometimes you really want to hear that amp. This does a great job. I have a list here of the things I like, which obviously I'll be reading off of them. It's got the USB, so you can go direct in and record, right there into your interface. It has a standard headphone jack, so if you just want to listen to yourself quietly and still have the amp sound, it's fantastic. Like I said earlier, the neck is easy to adjust. It came into my house. I live in Florida, and as it gets used to the house, every guitar, gets used, and the neck kind of works out a little bit, and it was very easily adjusted after about a week and a half. It's right here. It comes with its own tool, and you can set it up yourself very, very quickly. The neck is super comfortable. It is 24 frets. I'm trying to think, and I think, and it has an awesome app. Actually, you can customize the sounds. You can go through here's some distortion, here's clean, excuse me, right? And then more distortion. Oh, this has a phaser. It's cool stuff. It really is very cool. So, who would I recommend this for? I recommend it for people like me, who want a guitar laying around the house, and when they want to practice and play, they can grab it, turn it on, and get the sound they're looking for without having to travel into their studio. I know it sounds weird, but when you're inspired sitting in the den, you just want to play. You don't have to get up and move rooms, at least in my mindset. So it's really an awesome practice vehicle, and that's why I enjoy it. Hopefully Stitch Method. I don't hawk things that I don't care about, but this is really cool to help practice guitar. And it's very easily playable. I will stop talking. Most of the video now is about the guitar, but the Enya-inspired, there is a link below if you want to check it out. If you do get one, tell them Stitch sent you. I don't know how you would do that, but I really do approve of this. This is the Oz model, OZ. Really great concept, great guitar. Really, so thank you, Enya. And as you know, I record this with my Audigo microphone, so I'm just going to shout at everybody. Oh my gosh. All right, the lesson's been over for about 6 minutes now. All right, so go, Jimi Hendrix it up. Practice this. It is a gauntlet of bar chord, proportions and smoothness and strength, and I approve of learning this. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.